Welcome to Hip Hop Movie Club, the show that harmonizes the rhythm of hip hop with the magic of movies. Today we're discussing Last Holiday, the 2006 romantic comedy drama starring Queen Latifah and LL Cool J. We are three old heads who put their old heads together to vibe on these films for you. I'm Dino Wright, podcaster, filmmaker, longtime hip hop fan, and I'm reading Questlove's new book, Hip Hop is History.
I'm JB, 80s and 90s nostalgia junkie, longtime hip hop fan, and all I do is win, win, win no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm Boogie, a DJ, longtime hip hop fan, and I'm currently stuck between the holiday music and Kendrick's GNX album, What a Time to Be Alive.
True.
Nice. In this episode, we'll answer the question, should you add Last Holiday to your holiday rotation?
Last Holiday follows Georgia Byrd, played by Queen Latifah, a shy, hardworking department store clerk who discovers that she has a terminal illness and decides to spend her remaining days living life to the fullest. Trading her modest routine for a luxurious European adventure, she embraces fine dining, daring adventures, and inspires others around her to rethink their priorities. Packed with heart, humor, and Queen Latifah's infectious charm, it's a feel-good story about living boldly and savoring every moment.
And here are 5 things you need to know about Last Holiday. Number 1, all hail the Queen again. Queen Latifah shines, proving she's just as iconic on screen as she is in hip-hop, effortlessly carrying this feel-good film. Number 2, live your best life. The movie's mantra, stop playing small, embrace your dreams and take bold leaps. A vibe that echoes hip-hop's go big or go home energy. Number 3, know what you want. Don't live for other people. Number 4, Underdog energy. This story of unexpected triumph and transformation hits home with the hip-hop spirit of rising against the odds. And number 5, a real one on screen. Georgia Byrd's authentic, relatable character brings depth and joy to the genre. And we have a special guest via audio clip.
Okay, I'm Dr. A. I am Mrs. Dino Wright. I guess Dr. Mrs. Dino Wright.
Yes.
And Last Holiday is one of my absolute favorite movies. I watch it every year at Christmas time.
Nice. Dr. A, I like it.
Thank you, Dr. A. All right. So shall we dig into the 5 takeaways? First one, as Dino Wright mentioned, all hail the Queen again. Queen Latifah shines, and I always had to kick it off to our resident expert on all things Queen Latifah.
Our
Mr.
newer
Boogie.
correspondent.
Our correspondent. Boogie, talk about Queen Latifah's elegance, dominance, wonderful talents on this feel-good film.
Yeah, Queen Latifah is an absolute gem in this film. I mean, you can't help but to root for Georgia Byrd. I mean, you see her playing a character completely opposite her in real life. I mean, she's so shy and withdrawn to herself. She's just really trying to live life day to day. She has a set routine that she follows. She goes to church religiously, for lack of better words. but yeah, she's pretty much a homebody. She goes home and she makes these fabulous cooking meals that she watches on TV, but she doesn't even enjoy them. She feeds her neighbor and his grandfather the meals, and she eats her diet. What's that called? Lean cuisine.
Lean cuisine, yeah.
Yeah, she's a lean cuisine. Like, she's making all this good food, she doesn't even eat it. And then, like, even as far as, like, you know, going to work, and she has a crush on the gentleman that she works with, and she's afraid to say anything. And then we see the turnaround in her life where she realizes that she's going to die, and she just starts saying, you know what, I'm gonna go live out these dreams that I have in my possibilities book. She withdraws her money and she just flies across the pond to Europe, books in a luxurious hotel, and, you know, she starts meeting all these, you know, rubbing shoulders with these, you know, people in there. And then while she's there, she's like dropping little nuggets of information on them that, you know, make them rethink themselves and how they're living their lives, while she's out here thinking that she's going to live her last days, doing things that she never thought she would do in her life. You know, I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but you can't help but to root for her. And the charisma charisma that she brings to that character is very infectious. And I watched this movie a lot. I really enjoy this film. As Dr. A said, it's one of my favorites as well. But yeah, she absolutely shines on this film.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's so likable, relatable, and you said quiet, caretaker, church going. Even when she's diagnosed, she doesn't really panic or flip out. She doesn't make it known to anyone, really, and she just kind of embraces her dreams and lives life to the fullest, as we mentioned. Hard not to like her. And this, again, pioneering performance. Female hip hop artist. This is the year 2006. No one was doing anything like this, and so she really influenced so many others that would follow in her footsteps, and proved that a hip hop artist could translate easily to the big screen.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's almost like she does this effortlessly.
Words out of my mouth.
It's so good that it looks easy. I'm sure it's not easy. And that's the kind of skill she has. And also, talking about hip hop legends, LL Cool J plays the love interest, and he's so good in this, playing someone who actually gets rejected. At first, she rejects him at first, because she's too shy. And, you really see the depth of his acting ability when he starts running towards, through the avalanche. He's going to make it no matter what. Yeah. He's sneaky good in this movie, too.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this at length, that this younger generation, probably don't know too much about Queen Latifah's hip hop career, because she's done so much on the big screen and television, and movies, etc. And she's accomplished so much that it almost minimizes her amazing hip hop career as well.
Yeah.
Which had a great deal of depth and breadth and classical singing, etc. She's done it all. And LL Cool J too. LL Cool J, I mean, he had a more expansive hip hop career, and he's still producing albums. The most recent one produced by Q-Tip, but his acting career took off too, and he's accomplished almost as much on the big screen and on TV as he had in.
Dr. A has something to say about him too. I'll play it right now.
Ladies love Cool J, this lady included.
Love it. Oh yeah.
Who doesn't love Cool J?
So good. So good. Yep.
When they played "Let's Get It On," that clip in the movie when she was concussed, clearly,
yes.
was having that vision.
Yes.
All the ladies were probably salivating over LL Cool J in that scene. My wife always loved LL Cool J to this day as well.
You know what they say? He fine.
He fine.
But the funniest thing about that whole clip is that that's not even his character in the movie. That's not even him. Like, he's completely opposite that. That's what makes it even funnier.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has such a persona as a ladies' man, but like Sean Williams is not the ladies' man, even though like
not at all.
You could have anybody.
Yeah.
Where have you gone, Jane Addams?
Oh wow! So the next takeaway is live your best life. That's the movie's mantra. Stop playing small, embrace your dreams, take those bold leaps, and it kind of echoes hip hop. Go big or go home. That type of energy. So, Boogie, live your best life. Talk about some of the things that Georgia Byrd in this movie did to try to accomplish that.
Absolutely. So Georgia had a book of possibilities, and these were things that she always wanted to do, but she just never thought that she would get around to them, especially when she realized she was dying. So one of the things that she wanted to do was to go to this hotel, the Grand Poop, and meet Chef Didier. So she withdraws all of her money from her 401ks and jumps across the pond. And the crazy thing about it is, while she was on her flight, she got into it with the guy on the flight, and they were saying, "Oh, you should have booked first class." And she's like, "Well, how much?" And she immediately upgraded on the plane to first class. Gets to the airport, and instead of catching a standard cab, she helicopters in to the hotel, and it catches everyone's attention while she's flying in. She gets to the hotel. Her room wasn't ready, and she said, "Well, what's available?" And ends up booking a presidential suite. While she's there, she's like, "All right, I'm gonna take some ski lessons. I'm gonna go to the spa." She's doing all of these different spa treatments while she's there. And she goes snowboarding. She goes base jumping. And like she goes to the casino. She gambles and wins money. She goes to a concert benefit with the one and only Smokey Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was a fun random.
Yeah. And then not only does she meet Chef Didier, but she becomes friends with him, and because he embraces her love for food, her love and passion for good food. So he personally comes out and meets her. And they have a lengthy conversation, while everyone else that wanted to meet him is sitting there watching, trying to figure out who she is and how she had this influence like that. And because they became friends, she ends up cooking alongside of him when his staff is stranded at home because of the avalanche. And it's just amazing, like all of these different things that she's doing. And on the flip side, Sean actually comes looking for her, and there you have it, rom-com moment. But it goes full circle, because one of the things that she wanted to do, and she actually expressed it, that she wanted to do, was open a small bistro restaurant. And that everything happens full circle, and she accomplishes all her goals. And it was great to see that she embraced it and just took off and did what she wanted to do. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great lessons to be learned in this movie.
Yeah.
Live life to the fullest. I had taken some notes down. It reminded me of the Tim McGraw song. I'm not a huge country fan, but I'd have a soft spot for Tim McGraw and a few others. But he had a song that came out 2 years prior called Live Like You Were Dying. And it's about his father that had been diagnosed with cancer, I believe, I think he had brain cancer. Tug McGraw, the former pitcher for the Phillies and a few other teams. So in that song, he talks about he went skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing, spent 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu, all these types of things that he just lived like he was dying. And I was wondering if maybe they modeled some of this off of that experience. But it really teaches just, you have all these possibilities. Our time on this earth is finite, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And, you're not going to take it with you. So she was forced to act in this way, but just by emboldening yourself to do all this stuff, it turned out great. And then also, opening the bistro in New Orleans reminded me of the Disney movie Princess and the Frog as well. Tia does that. And that was cool. But that came after this movie. But I liked some of those parallels there.
Nice.
Yep. And Chef Didier was Gerard Depardieu.
Love me some Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he was great. He was great in his role.
Eat up every scene. So good.
There's a movie from the 80s, My Father the Hero. That's a good, heartwarming tale, too, that he starred in. He was, I think, in the Three Musketeers, and he's a lovable guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the movie that he played in where he was like the imaginary friend of this kid. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head. And Whoopi Goldberg was in it.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. I should have looked it up.
Yeah. I remember seeing that as well.
Dr. A brings up another point about Georgia Byrd. I'm going to play it right now.
Okay, so one thing I noticed in the introduction of the movie is that Georgia Byrd, played by Queen Latifah, is clearly alone in life. She doesn't have any family, but she's not lonely. She's already carved out a community for herself. She's active in her church. She clearly is often the young boy who lives next door comes over for dinner. She mentions sending food home with him for his father or his grandfather. So even though she could easily be quite lonely, she's managed to carve out relationships for herself, and I think we're going to see that really blossom further in the movie.
And you really do see it blossom in the movie, like
Absolutely, yeah.
especially the hotel staff
Yes.
and the other guests. Like, she changes their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, they all rally around her. Like, they're like, oh, so what are we going to do? And they started, hey, George, you got to come on. Come on, George. You got to come with us. Like, she wants to go back to her room and be by herself, and you're like, convincing her to come out with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she had that infectious energy. For sure.
And it wasn't like she was being intentionally in any way. She was just being herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking up a little bit more about this movie too, and the amount of money that she spent on the vacation, etc. And it was estimated at $65,000 and change on the vacation, which included the first class flights, the luxury accommodations, the stay at the hotel, I guess spa treatments, and all that stuff. It's kind of funny. I guess that's back then. It's probably a lot more now. And then she did win at the casino. They estimate that she won around $100,000 at the casino. I think they may have mentioned she won $100,000. So she actually ended up ahead at the trip. But the medical procedures were quite expensive, right? Remember they mentioned that it was well over $340,000 or something. So if you do all the math, she was actually in arrears, needing money. So I think the whole thing happened fortuitously for her, where she was able to open the bistro and live happily ever after with Sean. So it was a wild ride, but it's funny if you actually analyze how much money did she spend. It's almost like the misdiagnosis. If that didn't end in that happy manner, she would have a major lawsuit, right, against that.
Yeah.
Either Dr. Gupta or the company, Craig Enterprises or whatever.
Yeah.
Because she spent all her life savings thinking she was going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Cragen Hospital or the Cragen
Clinic. And then with Dr. Cooper, I quit my job. I quit my job. I quit my job.
I love Dr. Cooper. Yeah.
Man, Sean was about to wring his neck when he was trying to get information out of him. Got him cradled.
Yeah.
It's like the bodyguard.
That's great.
Oh, man.
Another takeaway is know what you want. Like, don't live for other people, and that's exactly what Georgia Byrd did. Know exactly what you want in life, or at least have a good idea about it. And we see that with her Possibilities book. And Dinah, right, you were talking about like having a vision board or something like that. That's another lesson that we were taught in this movie. You guys want to talk a little bit more about that aspect?
Yeah, I think, the book itself was a great idea. I mean, I never thought about ever doing that. I mean, even down to the point of her and Sean with their floating heads on their wedding day. But yeah, I mean, it was a great visual, and like to see her moving towards it, and I guess the book actually saved her, because had she not had that book, she would have probably been sitting around miserable, thinking she was going to die, instead of out there actually trying to do something with herself. So the book actually helped her in that aspect, because it gave her some kind of direction. Like, all right, you know what? If I'm going to go on my terms, and I'm going to do these things in this book, rather than sitting around feeling miserable. Like, for instance, she spoken to her sister, and her sister was like, "Oh, I need you to watch the kids so I can go out and become a singer." And it's like, what? Stuff like that. Like, everybody, like, I feel like that conversation, they intentionally showed that, because that probably happened quite often, where the sister would run off and want to do something and call her Georgia, hey, I need you to watch the kids. And then her sister would go off and do whatever she wanted to do. Meanwhile, Georgia stuck with her kids. Georgia didn't have any children, So I think that book was vital. Very vital piece to this movie. Very vital component.
I'll go to Dr. A for this one.
Nice.
So what's interesting about Georgia Byrd is she, for apparently many years, has known what she wants. She's just afraid to go for it. She loves cooking. She likes her coworker. So she's very specific about what she wants. She's just never tried to get it. She's been too afraid. I think in a lot of cases, people don't know what they want in real life and in movies. And then the movie is about discovering what they want. This one's different in that she knows exactly what she wants. She was too afraid to get it, and that is all about to change.
Great insight there, Dr. A.
Dr. A on point again.
I agree.
Of course.
Yeah. I think that's something I need to work on, is more of a vision board myself.
Yeah. Once in a while, she'll get out some magazines, cut out some things, and get the glue stick out and get on the poster board and just visualize what she wants. And it's happened. I've seen it multiple times in our marriage. Like, she wants something, she visualizes it, and then she makes a plan to get it, and then she gets it.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about manifesting your destiny.
Exactly.
Yeah. I even go back to like a child dropping wishes or dreams in a jar or something like that, and then going back and looking at that, and did you accomplish that, or goal setting. Yeah. So yeah, it's great that in this movie we are reminded to identify what you really want in life, what's important to you, where you see yourself in X number of years, etc.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I think what I want, I think I need to do better at visualizing it. Like, I think that I need to probably work better on like a vision board, or some kind of book or poster or something like that. Because in my head, I know exactly what I want, but seeing it every day, or seeing it, would probably help me better out in life.
She can maybe do a workshop for us.
Yeah. Another theme, takeaway number 4 was underdog energy. This story of unexpected triumph and transformation, it really hits home. And again, we tie it back to hip hop, the spirit of rising up against odds. So Georgia's underdog in this story, she comes from very little means. You see her clipping coupons, living her day-to-day routine, very modest car, very modest home. And because of this unlikely scenario where she was diagnosed with a terminal illness, is, again, as Dr. A mentioned, she goes for it. Now that's going to change. All these possibilities, she jumps right in and overcomes some of these obstacles based on that diagnosis. So, yeah. Underdog story, like you said early on, Buggy, you have to root for Georgia, and it's a fun ride to see her fulfill some of those dreams, or pretty much all of them.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because when she gets to the hotel, nobody knows that she's an underdog. They immediately assume she's a big shot. And everybody starts treating her as such immediately. Like, it's amazing how, like, just going for it, how it changed everyone's perception of her. Had she just walked in, had she not even been staying there, just walking around the street or something, they would have just assumed that she was just an average tourist or something. But the fact that she goes to this grand poop hotel of all sorts, and then while she's there, she's like, instead of waiting on a regular standard room, she's like, give me the presidential suite. All right, whatever. She goes out, she's like, make me international. She comes with these nice, fancy European style clothing on now, and she's like getting everybody's attention. Like, who is this? Who is that lady? Like, who is she? Who is she? And meanwhile, she's just a, standard clerk at Cragen's department store. And it was like, wow.
I'm going to go to Dr. A again.
Nice.
The funny thing is, the first time I saw this movie, for the first part of the movie, before she knew her diagnosis, I thought she dressed pretty well. I mean, she had skirts on, she had earrings on, she wasn't a schlub. But then you realize the colors were always very muted. And what I like about the scene where she's clothes shopping, post-diagnosis, is she's not trying to change how she looks per se. Like, she's not trying to lose weight or any of the typical things that happen in like these makeover roles. It's more like she's just trying to express who she's always been, and she chooses to do that with bold color. And I'll be honest, this movie inspired me to incorporate more bold colors in my wardrobe.
Nice. Yeah. On point again. The color, yeah. The color palette change was definitely apparent.
It's like going from black and white to color, like
yeah,
like
it's
Wizard
like
of Oz or something.
I was about to say like the Wizard of Oz. Exactly. We're not in Kansas
Wizard of Oz.
anymore.
Yeah.
Pleasantville or whatever
Yeah,
that movie was.
Pleasantville,
Yeah.
Pleasantville. Yeah.
Pleasantville, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because like as Dr. A was saying that, it resonated with me because I love colors. I wear all kinds of colors. I'm bright. I don't care, and I'll walk into a place with like a neon green sweater on and a neon green fitted hat matching it, and don't even care. Bright orange, bright yellow. I don't care. I love my colors, and I think that that's always been a thing for me. I've always like expressing myself that way, and it was good that that was that mention, that pickup. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a good lead into the final takeaway, which was a real one on the screen. Georgia Byrd is so authentic and relatable, and she kind of flipped the script on some of these stereotypes and brings depth and joy to her character and to the whole genre here. Yeah, I mean, she changed her appearance and she dressed more in high class. She hung out in these high class places, but she was true to herself. Like she told it like it is.
Yep.
And I love that. It's just very inspiring. the way she handled herself and made people realize like, hey, we're all just people here. We all put our clothes on the same way, and this is how I am. Take it or leave it. Right?
Yep.
She's calling people out. I'm drawing a blank on her name. I guess the mistress of Cregan, right?
The Alicia Witt character, yeah.
Yep.
Alicia Witt, Miss Burns, right?
Miss Burns, yeah.
And she kind of opened up her eyes to say, this guy's a phony, right? Like he's married. You really think he's going to change? Like this is the guy whose mantra is enough is never enough. This is the guy that you really want to be with. Oh, well, he's going to break up. It's like that's a falsehood right there. Like,
yep.
Can't rely on that. Be your own person. So all that authenticity, again, is contagious, and she's teaching a lot of people these life lessons. And even Chef Didier, down to earth. He's like a deity in the world of cooking, but like down to earth person. Like, be yourself. Yep.
Yeah, you picked up on that. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, that first conversation, they're cracking jokes and laughing.
Yeah,
they were like old friends, and they had just met.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Dr. A.
I like how when she gets kind of called out at New Year's Eve dinner, she doesn't get defensive at all because she has nothing to be defensive about. She hasn't been trying to cast any aspersions. Is that the right phrase? She's just been living her life, and everyone made assumptions about her based on what they valued. And then when they found out it was an illusion, they felt betrayed, but they had kind of no right to feel that way. And I think she did a really good job of explaining herself while staying true to herself.
Well said, Dr. A.
Yeah, she was on a mission to blow some money. That's all she was there to do, blow some money and do some things that she never thought she would do. They made the assumption that she was some big shot.
Yeah. Especially the Giancarlo Esposito character, like kept trying to place her. Like, you look familiar, but why don't I know who you are? When she doesn't really have to say, she doesn't really say who she is.
Yeah, I know you from somewhere. No, you don't.
Yeah,
you would have known if you'd went to the church service that Sunday.
Oh, man. Yeah, and there's another lesson is that you could be so financially secure, but it does not buy happiness. And you see how Timothy Hutton's character, Matthew Cregan, the CEO and or founder of Cregan Enterprises, the company, right? How has this epiphany, and the mistress leaves him, and his whole, it's like a Great Gatsby thing. Like, it's very shallow, right? He's really shallow inside. You think he's got everything just based on his financial standing, but then he's out on the ledge, right? And contemplating maybe suicide. And it's like, wow. And you have the humble Georgia Byrd trying to talk him off the ledge. And then you get LL Cool J's character coming out to help too.
His sister in.
Yeah.
That whole scene makes me laugh so
I love that scene.
He's like,
I love,
Georgia!
and I love the commentary from the congressman in the center. They're
Yes.
like, maybe we need to get up there.
Yeah.
How many people can they fit on that ledge? And they're just standing there having a conversation, looking up.
Like Stadler and Waldorf in the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And George is up there breaking it down for Craig and like, hey man, like you have a chance to turn your life around. Like this is not the end of the world for you. People are upset with you, but you have the means and the ability to turn your life around. Like all you got to do is just make better decisions. And I love what you get your pasty face off the cover of your magazine. That face right there. Oh man. It's like, and it's funny because like she has nothing to lose. She thinks she has nothing to lose. She doesn't work for him anymore, and she's like, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to tell him as it is.
Yeah.
And she tells him. She puts it to him real, and he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. All right, let's get off this ledge now. Let's go back in here, and you do better.
Yeah. So few people actually spoke power to him, and Georgia was like the only one. Like the other people were not really, putting him to the test.
No.
But then Georgia did, and she was the only one who had the steel to do it.
Yeah, he was surrounded by yes men and yes women.
Like a Damien, right? Mr. Damien, her direct boss was such a jerk.
Oh man,
such a jerk, and he idolized Craig, and he's playing his CD of his, his mantras and stuff. I love how Georgia just spends that thing and rips it up. It's funny how when she gets a diagnosis, she's empowered, right? She's empowered to just say, "Screw this, I don't care."
Yeah.
It's funny as I'm talking about this, and we're talking this as a holiday movie. Cragen represents corporate greed, and he's unfaithful. He's a jerk. He's doesn't take care of his people. He's only thinking about himself and his own financial standing. It's kind of like an Ebenezer Scrooge type thing.
Definitely a Scrooge character. Yeah.
A Scrooge character, Scrooge or Grinch type character, and then you hope that his heart grows a couple sizes. He comes around helping out Tiny Tim like the Scrooge.
Yeah.
So that type of theme.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. This is a sneaky good movie in that it's a rom-com, but it's not. It doesn't really feel like a rom-com at the end. They do wind up together, and that's all well and good. It's like they check that box, but to me, it's more of like this existential exploration and just your average like meet cute story. There's a backbone of seriousness that makes the rom part and the com part even better, and I feel like it's a heavy existential film hiding within this like hip hop. These two hip hop legends trying to get together. Her strength comes from within and not from external validation, even though she gets that also at the end. Having Emeril Lagasse show up to your restaurant is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's I do enjoy this movie, and not just because my wife loves it too.
There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth to the movie, right? Mm-hmm. It's not superficial at all. As we analyze it pretty well here, I think that a lot of life lessons can be learned here. And it's funny how you are empowered when you go through something traumatic like that, like the diagnosis of terminal illness. Good friend of mine, and we mentioned him recently. He's helped us out with some things. He had a major heart issue, and he was like in a medically induced coma, and thankfully he came out of it, right? But like after that, he does not let like the minutia of life really get to him. And if something happens at work where someone's jumping down his throat about a spreadsheet or something, like he's like, you know what, it is what it is, right? Like I'm not risking my health over this, and like he'll be blunt and tell it like it is. It's because you have this awakening, so to speak, or a bit an epiphany where it's like that's small potatoes. Whatever you're talking about, that's really small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. Like self-care is important. Living your best life is important. So we see a lot of that here. But wow, yeah, this is a great movie. It's a great movie overall. So
Great movie, great cast. I think everybody worked well together in this movie. Some good chemistry, some good funny moments, some good conversations.
So it's funny, we mentioned we're going to answer the question about, do you add this to your holiday rotation? Based on the lessons and the feel-good aspect of it, I would say yes. I was a little bit confused. They didn't really do as much with Christmas overall. Like, this is a Christmas movie. Like, you don't think, it's called Last Holiday. It is around the holiday season. It happens like Christmas time into New Year's, but it wasn't like a lot of festiveness, I guess. Well, I guess because of the subject matter, obviously. But it wasn't dressed up quite as much in terms of Christmas, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, but I would add it to my rotation now, just based on the lessons learned here.
Oh yeah, you get an annual information.
Yeah, it almost works like a New Year's Eve or a New Year's Day movie because you can think about like what are you doing, what should you be doing differently with your life, and like make that into a New Year's resolution or something.
Right, absolutely.
And it's already in my rotation. Dr. A.
Chicken soup for your soul. Chicken soup for your soul, and then like a rejuvenation, I should say. Yeah. Well done. All right, so you guys want to go around the room and give our ratings for this movie? Boogie, for Last Holiday, should we bring this funky flick back? Bring that funky flick back? Or leave it in the vault?
Bring this funky flick back. Gotta.
Dinah Wright, same question. Bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault?
I am bringing this funky flick back, and I have one last clip from Dr. A.
The ending always makes me cry. In a good way. It always makes me cry happy tears.
You love it. She loves it. Hey, Mikey.
Needless to say, Dr. A will bring this funky flick back.
Yeah.
And I will do the same. Bring this funky flick back. I really enjoyed it.
Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, Boogie, and Dino Wright. Theme, music by Boogie. We've got a bunch of live events in 2025 coming up. You can learn more on our website, hiphopmovieclub.com. On February 5th at SteelStacks in Bethlehem, we are presenting a screening of Breakin with some live breakdancing demos. Tickets at SteelStacks.org. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in.
And remember, don't hate, decorate.
Hey!
For the holidays.
Ding, ding, ding.
Whichever holiday you celebrate, one or many, be festive.
Yes.
Festive and intentional. Intentionally festive.
Yes.
There you go. I like it.